everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video, I'll be sharing with you the top 5 books that I read this fall. So the way this video is structured is I'll go through all the books that I read over the months of September, October, and November. And then at the end, I'll kind of talk about my top 5 in no particular order. So without further ado, let's get started. Starting with September, I first read The Becoming and The Choice by Nora Roberts, which I both gave a 3 out of 5 stars. Romancing Mr. Bridgerton by Julia Quinn, which I gave a 3.5 out of 5 stars. The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. Woman on Fire by Liz Barr, which I gave a 3.5 out of 5 stars. And lastly, Something Lost, Something Gained by Hillary Clinton, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. Next, moving on to October, I first read Graveyard Shift by ML Ria, which I gave a 2 out of 5 stars. What I Ate in 1 Year by Stanley Tucci, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. Bringer of Dust by J.M. Miro, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. And Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, which I gave a 4 out of 5 stars. Moving on to November, I first read The Grey Wolf by Louise, which I gave a 5 out of 5 stars. To Sir Phillip with Love by Julia Quinn, which I gave a 1 out of 5 stars. And The Eras Tour book, which I gave obviously a 5 out of 5 stars. First up, I have The Third Gilmore Girl by Kelly Bishop. This is a book that I listened to on audiobook, and I really enjoyed it. I think I breezed through it in a day. It was really interesting. She tackles a lot of kind of interesting subject matter, and so I was really excited to learn more about her in this case. So she obviously is well known for being Emily Gilmore, but I didn't know a lot about her previous past and her history and the theater and everything. So it was really interesting to see her, to learn more about her life, her upbringing, and she doesn't shy away from a lot of the dark subject matter. So in particular, she talks about abortions, having a kind of not abusive father, but absent father, and her life choices with that thing. So it was really interesting. I really enjoyed it, and I think if you even are just a casual Gilmore Girl watcher, I think you would find this definitely very interesting. So I highly recommend this one, like I said, and I listened to the audiobook for this one and I loved it so much I had to pick up my own physical copy. So yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed it, and I think a lot of people again have really enjoyed this as well. Again, this is another kind of memoir that I listened to on audiobook, and it is What I Ate in 1 Year by Stanley Tucci. I'm a big Stanley Tucci fan. Me and my now husband, I guess, really loved his Searching for Italy and just kind of learning more about food, and he's a big foodie as well. So he basically, in this book, documents all the things he kind of ate over the course of the year. So not only this is kind of a log of everything he ate, but it also talks about how there's kind of common themes of how food, brings us together, brings families together, and the memories that are formed over kind of reading. So it was really interesting to kind of see what kind of a year in his life is like, and then also the food that he eats. He can be a little pretentious at times, but he's the only one who, I feel like he's one of the few people that can be pretentious, but it comes away as charming. So I really enjoyed it. Again, this is one that I have a physical copy for, but I also listened to it on audiobook, and like I said, I love his voice, so this one was a lot of fun, and some of the food he was talking about also made me really hungry as well. There's one restaurant that he mentions in Dublin that we're gonna go to when we're there on our honeymoon that he highly recommended, so definitely really excited to try that. But again, I think if you're a foodie, I think if you like Searching for Italy, or even if you just like Stanley Tucci, I think this is a good read. And again, in this case too, I do recommend the audiobook because he narrates it. Next, I have Bringer of Dust, and this is the sequel to Ordinary Monsters, and I was so excited for this. I read Ordinary Monsters in the beginning of this year, so it was kind of still fresh in my mind, and it was one that really took me by surprise because I was a little bit hesitant because the Goodreads reviews were kind of, at least for Ordinary Monsters, were a little bit, I would say, skewing more on the negative side, and I think that's because a lot of people were comparing it to Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and I don't think they're comparable. I've never read Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, but I don't think they're very comparable in this case. So basically the premise of this, it takes place in the mid to late 1800s, where we follow these two people who are trying to find these kids that have kind of some supernatural powers, and to keep them safe, they're bringing them to this school where they can kind of teach them how to use their magic, and they kind of create a safe space for them that is in Edinburgh. But there is this kind of dark magic that is trying to get them, and there's kind kind of this unraveling within this world, and it kind of goes on from there. This obviously was the sequel, and I would really say this one kind of like took me by surprise because it does skew a little bit more on the horror side. There was definitely a lot of little more horror aspects in this one, so it was a little bit creepy reading that because, like I said, it kind of really took me by surprise. But I still really enjoyed it. We're following a bunch of different storylines that like takes place in like London, Edinburgh, Barcelona, France, like all these different places, and we're following different characters kind of at the same point in time. So despite there being kind of multiple different point of views, the blending of the storylines coming together at the end was really well done. I never felt like the story felt disjointed or anything. I felt like even though we were kind of changing perspectives and different storylines were being followed, the overall narrative of the story was still able to progress. So I really enjoyed this one. I don't know why this series is so polarizing, but I do, highly recommend it. I thought it was really well done, and I'm really excited for what I assume is the final book in the trilogy. So I'm excited to see what is in store for these characters. Obviously, I have to include The Grey Wolf by Louise Penny. She is my favorite author of all time. This is my favorite series of all time, and she just announced actually the sequel, I guess the next book in the series, which is The Black Wolf, which I'm really excited about because I could tell from this one that it was definitely part one. It was building of a bigger story, but basically the premise of the series overall is that it follows Inspector Gamache, who is head of the homicide department in Quebec, and so a lot of his murder mysteries somehow involve a town called Three Pines, and it kind of has that sense of found family, like that found family that you have with the people, I guess, of like Stars Hollow, and those characters is very reminiscent of what is done here with the kind of ensemble cast of side characters. It's just, there's something so homely about this, like just feels like home about these characters and this, fictional town. And so this one, there's kind of definitely something focusing much bigger than, a murder that took place in Quebec. This one is definitely much more, I would say, on the international scale, and I feel like this is very much inspired by State of Terror, which is a book that she wrote with Hillary Clinton, which is much more on the kind of global stage. This is the case for this one too, which I thought was really surprising, and I really enjoyed it. So it kind of deals with a murder of a man who broke into Gamache's home and wanted to meet with him, and as they're, it kind of goes off from there. I don't want to spoil too much, but you can definitely see that this one was not really, there was no like clear conclusion at the end. Like there was nothing that was, even though there was some, storylines wrapped up, there's definitely something bigger brewing. And she just announced yesterday that the next book is The Black Wolf, so I'm really excited to see. Obviously, I'm so excited. I can't wait to put it down. I think it comes out next year. I even want to say, I don't remember, but I think she probably wrote them kind of back to back, so I'm definitely very excited for it. And obviously, this one was just a given to be on here. And lastly, I just have the Eras Tour book. I feel like this is, you can kind of see from my back here, I'm a big Swiftie, have been from her first album. So I saw the Eras Tour in Pittsburgh, and so I was really excited to get my hands on the tour book and just kind of seeing the pictures and some behind the scenes things and just learning more about her experience kind of with the Eras Tour, all those other things, seeing the things behind the scenes. I really loved it. So as a Swiftie, obviously, I really enjoyed it, and I feel like I've been in a bit of a reading rut recently, so kind of having a book that I could just check off my TBR helped a lot. So like I said, I really enjoyed this, and I think if you're a Swiftie, you would enjoy this as well. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what some of your top books of fall were and all of that fun stuff. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.